Hello, everyone, and welcome along to this live webinar. And today we have a special webinar with a special guest, Jack Smith, property investor, entrepreneur, mentor. But I will let you, Jack, to introduce yourself. Before Amir is here also from the Lendlord team to moderate this webinar. Hi, Amir. Good
Hi,
evening.
hi everyone. Thanks for having me on.
Before we jump into the agenda, perhaps, Jack, like a few words about yourself.
For anyone who doesn't know me, I've been in property for the past 5 years. Started by um, buying a house with a friend of mine. We renovated it, sold it. I had no idea how to renovate a house or even buy a house, to be honest, when I first did one. But my friend had plenty of experience and he basically said, let's do a joint venture. So I bought the house, he did the refurb. We went through the whole process and I was like, this is amazing. And I love it. I really enjoyed it. And so from there, just kind of went on, raised private finance, did more flips, and then eventually started getting people reach out to me to say, could you find me properties and help me build a portfolio? So through various ways, primarily through property sourcing and being like an investment agent on behalf of other people and a bit of education as well. I've been helping people for the past sort of 3 years on their journey. So that's a bit about me. And I'm really excited to be on, really excited. So thank you, Avram, for organising this and excited to hopefully offer as much value as possible to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have you with finally in our webinar. We did some things like in the past together, and
Yeah.
for me it always was valuable to work with you, and I'm pretty sure that we can provide great value to our audience today. So I will share the
Mhm.
agenda. Let's start with that. Okay, so. So we start with the open discussion to speak about, and basically from your experience, Jack, I will ask you about, your best practices or top tips on source properties. Then we will do like a live analysis for a buy to let strategy and BRR strategy, and then we take question and answers. In between, I will show the Landlord app. Um, Perhaps just quickly on the chat, if you are new to Lendlord, although I think this webinar is mainly for users, but we have users, but perhaps we have new users. So if you're new to Lendlord, put one. If you're familiar with the platform, put two in the chat. Yeah, make sure target everyone, not just the host and panelists. Okay, again, it's a mix, which is good.
Mhm.
Um, all right, good. So as we usually do, we are running a special promotion just for you, Jack, this time, this webinar for our premium plan, which is very enhanced. Um, Before we show the promotion, just if you can excuse me, I will use like 1 or 2 minutes just to do very high level overview about the Lendo platform. And then we will start with the agenda of today. Um, so, Lendlord is separated into three main sections. We have the invest part, which can help you grow your portfolio and get started. We have several tabs on the sourcing section. So you can find properties from estate agents, auction houses, and also target specific categories like repossessed properties. On our PM plan, you can define sourcing alerts. So basically, every time the platform get a new property that matches your criteria, you can define one too many criterias, then you will get notified. On the premium plan, you can also get the full details on any listing. You can contact the agent, you can run online valuation, and I will do one example with Jack later in this webinar. You can assess the rental income for this specific property. And you can use the deal analyzer. The deal analyzer is free to use, but if you want to generate reports, then you will need the premium plan. And also, if you want to run unlimited postcode information searches. So basically, you can get um, a thorough analysis about any postcode. Very valuable. On the manage section, this is for existing landlords. You can manage your portfolio with Landlord. all the details you need in one place, accessible from anywhere at any time. You can manage your documents, tasks. You can manage your tenants and tenancies. You can invite your tenants to their own dashboard, and you can manage your cash flow over time using our accounting module. But this is not the topic of this webinar. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more relevant content. Amir will share it on the chat in a sec. And then in the finance section, you can find options for mortgage, remortgage, and bridging finance. Now, just for today, for our premium plan, which is usually £99 per year or £12 per month, we are running a special promotion just during this webinar time. So click on the link that Amir will put on the chat /premium, or go to your Lendlord account, click on the settings from the right top menu, and then click upgrade. Here you click add coupon and enter the value Jack webinar. Click apply, and you can get the annual plan for £49.5 for the entire year, entire first year. So very valuable. You get 12 months access to our premium plan, which contains many great features and also some benefits on finance applications. So yeah, it's worth it. So hurry up and upgrade. And now let's start. So Jack, you started when you introduced yourself to speak about your how you started the journey in property for you. So the first topic is sourcing and tips how to source property. I think one of the biggest problem is where I can find the best properties to buy at the best price at the right time and at the right place. So I can show how you can do it with technology, but it's very interesting for me. What is your strategies and basically how you found your first properties and what basically was the approach that you took?
Yeah, so the very first property that I did, like I said, I did it with a friend who actually had a really good relationship with an agent who, over the years had built up a really strong relationship there. So they came to him and said, "We've got this 3-bedroom terraced house in Birmingham. Do you want it?" And get, immediate access to it as long as you come in and do what you always do, which is complete quickly. So relationships is a massive one, and that was how I got my first deal. But I can't really take credit for that because it wasn't the relationship that I built with the agent. The thing is with finding property deals is one of the things that I would encourage anybody listening is not to overcomplicate it, and have maybe, to start with, one really clear off-market strategy, and then use one normal platform. So like Rightmove, for example. I get so many deals. I'm buying at the moment. I'm looking to complete on uh, four properties in the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks. And they were all from Rightmove. And I'm buying those myself. So that's not it's not to brag, it's to show like you don't have to get the off-market direct to vendor deals for them to be great deals. You've just got to know that there are deals everywhere. So just commit to certain places. So that's why I always say, so commit to like Rightmove or Zoopla, whatever your preference is for the on-market stuff. Build relationships with agents, get out there, make calls. And then the other side is the off-market stuff. And I'd say, especially because a lot of the people who are putting in the chat, they were saying that they're quite new to property. It's very easy to get very overwhelmed when we're talking about getting off-market property deals by jumping into things like, I'm going to do Facebook ads, I'm going to do Instagram ads, I'm going to do TikTok ads, I'm going to do pay-per-click on Google, I'm going to do letter drops, I'm going to do leaflet drops, I'm going to go door knocking. And there's a million and one different ways that you can get off-market deals. I would choose just one and trial and error it and get really good at it, because the reality is, if you just focus on doing letters and doing them well and testing and making sure that you do trial and error, you'll get some deals. And I guarantee if you do Facebook and you commit to it and you work on it and you test and you experiment, you will get deals. So it's not a case of like one is better than the other. It's what do you commit to being good at? Because you can be great at any of them. I know people that get loads of off-market deals because they go crazy on leaflet drops. I know people who get loads of good off-market deals because they really dial in on Facebook ads. But especially if you're just getting started, don't do like £10 of Facebook ads, then £50 on letters, then £30 on leaflets. Just commit everything to one and split test, run trials and tests on whatever it is you're going to do for your strategy and just commit to it. So
Jack,
that's what I do. For me personally, just sorry, just before you
go.
jump in, for me personally, I quite like Facebook ads, but that's because I understand it. It makes sense to me. I know how to work it. I do Facebook ads for any business that I have. I understand that way of doing things. Um, I've never quite wrapped my head or been able to crack leaflets personally. So I just don't do that. I just double down on what I know. So choose an avenue and just keep going for it, really.
Yeah, so what I just want to say, like basically your tip is to be in focus, like basically do one thing that you
Mm,
get expertise and the knowledge how to do it like the
yeah,
best, then
yeah.
focus on that. Um, what about focus on areas? Would like if you look at it as an advantage, or basically like when you source properties, doesn't matter where the properties are located.
So we try to source as close to me as possible. Somebody put in the chat, am I based in Birmingham? I'm based in Manchester. I used to be based in Birmingham, um, but I moved back to Manchester about 4 years ago. I try and source locally to me more because of the volume that we're doing. And with all the refurb projects we have going on, it's really hard to manage those refurb projects. I mean, I had one about a year ago. I was driving up to Barrow in Furness, if you know where that is, like just by the Lake District. Then I was then driving on the same day over to an area called Gainsborough in the East Midlands. Then I had to dash down to Crewe and have a look at something in Crewe. I went over to Liverpool, something in Warrington, and then back to Manchester. That was not fun. And I wouldn't recommend it. So I'd say especially if you're doing refurb projects and you want to have a bit of an eye on it, try and be local to you. I try and be local to me, but that's because my business is sourcing properties for investors. So my job is to be like boots on the ground, making sure that these deals are getting done, that these refurbs are getting done to a high standard. And so I need to be, in order to scale that business, I need to be as close to me as possible. So I source within sort of a 45-minute um, radius of where I'm based. So I'll go all the way over to Liverpool, the outskirts of Liverpool, and I source in like down to Crewe, around St Helens, Warrington, Wigan, Manchester, all those areas. I think if someone sat there going, I don't know what area to invest in. I mean, I made a video about this on YouTube, but quite often it comes down to a few things. It comes down to where you're located, and whether you want to invest near where you are. Whether it's a good location for you, whether it's it kind of comes down to the second point is what is your budget? If your budget is £100,000 and you're in central London, it might be a little bit tricky for you to start investing in property there. So you're going to have to look out of area. And then it comes down to either um, sort of what your tenant profile is, who you want to be in the property, the team that you want to manage that property, finding an area there because that's not easy to do. If you're finding a sourcing team, if you're finding a lettings agent, if you're finding a builder, you don't want to do that in one area and then choose another area and have to do it all over again, then choose another area and have to do it all over again. So if you're not able to if you're not able to invest local to you, find an area that works, build a team in that area, um, and uh, and double down really.
Okay, great tips. Thanks, Jack. Now, now let's deep dive into the demo. So, Jack, what I want to do
Yeah.
is to analyze together a deal using Landlord. So, We'll show
Yeah.
basically how you do it with Lendlord, but then I really want to see your way of thinking when you basically put the numbers in.
Mm.
So usually when you want to start on Lendlord, you can start with finding the properties. So we have properties from Rightmove, Zoopla on the market,
Yeah.
also properties from auction houses. And then on each property, you will see the initial analysis. So basically, the model of Lendlord is doing it in the background based on some assumptions. So you can just click
Mm.
on adjust, and it will take you to the deal analyzer. And here you can tweak the numbers, tweak the data to get different results. Or you can start from scratch if you go directly to the deal analyzer. Let me just refer the page. So from the deal analyzer, you can start analyzing deals in three main strategies: buy to let, flip, and BRR. And for the first example, we will do a buy to let analysis. Quickly, Jack, you want to basically explain the differences between buy to let, flip, which we can call also buy to sell, and BRR? Jack, if you want to speak about the differences between those strategies.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Sorry. I just the audio just cut out there for a second.
okay, okay.
What was that? Sorry.
I just want to speak about the differences between those strategies. Perhaps I can
But
start jumping. Yeah, like basically buy to let, right? Like if you compare it to flip, which is buy to sell, and BRR, which is buy, refurb, refinance, and rent. Um, yeah, so yeah, go ahead, Jack. Yeah.
yeah. So the so yeah, exactly like you say. So buy, refurb, refinance, and flip. They're actually quite similar strategies. It comes down to if you hear people talk about how do you exit your deal, it quite often it's basically the same process except you exit the deal differently. So you've got a purchase where if you were going to flip a house, you would purchase it, hopefully buy it discounted below market value. So if the house, if every house on that street is a three-bedroom terrace, they're all laid out pretty similar, and they've all sold for £150,000. If you pick yours up for 120, 125, you've got yourself a good discount there, which is great. That's a great way to start. Then if it was run down, and you were able to pick it up for 125, you were to spend like 50,000, £25,000 fixing it up, and then it was worth £200,000. You could then sell it and then you flip it. A lot of people will do this with their personal homes, even without realizing it. They'll buy a house that's a little bit tired because it's more within their budget. They spruce it up, live in it for a few years, and then all of a sudden, when they come to sell it, oh, they've actually made a load of money and they hadn't realized it. It's almost an accidental flip. And then buy, refurb, refinance, the BRRR model is where you do the exact same process, the discounted house, the refurb to add the value, except rather than selling it and taking that profit and spending it elsewhere, you retain the property and you go to your bank or any bank and you say, I want a new mortgage against the new value of this property. So using the example that I gave before, if you bought it for 125, you spent 25 on it, and we're using, highlight figures here. Obviously, there's some additional few costs that things like Lendlord can help you calculate. But let's say you're all in at 150, but the house is worth £200,000. When you go to your lender, when you go to a bank, you can say to them, I want to get a new mortgage against this property. They would say to you, okay, we can give you 75% as a loan to value. So they will give you £150,000 against a £200,000 house. That means that you can pay off the old mortgage if you used it, or you pay yourself back, and you still retain the house. You've got a 25% equity stake of £50,000 held in that deal. You retain the house, you can rent it out, and you can cash flow every month. And you can also pull your initial investment back out to go again.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that we will show like a live example. And I think what I look at usually on BRI is the money left in the deal. So basically, you purchase the property in cash or with bridging finance. Then you have initial investment into the project, which will be the deposit for the loan, stamp duty, closing cost, of course, the refurb cost, and the loan fees. Usually, if you take bridging, of course, if you buy in cash, there are no fees. Then you put like there is some appreciation to the property due to the renovation. So let's say that you bought in 100, then you can refinance at a higher value post refurb on 150. Then with 75% buy to let mortgage, I will go to the summary tab to see it. Then you can get potentially 112, which will repay the bridging loan, but also bring back some of the initial cash that you invested. And this is the metric, if you go to the results tab, that we call money left in the deal. So basically, in total, you invested only 17K. But let's now, perhaps we can do like a real example, and then we can basically speak about the different metrics. Before we do so, let me remind you that we are running a special promotion for our premium plan during this webinar time. So go to your Lendlord account, click on the right top menu, click on the settings, or click on the link that Amir, if you can put it again on the chat, then click upgrade. Below the orange button, you will see the link add coupon, and here enter the value Jack webinar, click apply, and you will get the premium plan for 49.5 pounds for the first year, for the entire year, and then the second year it will go to 99. The premium plan is full of great features on all the areas: invest, manage, and on the finance you can get benefits on finance. Okay, so let's start and analyze. Let's start with buy to let strategy. So when you analyze deals on Lendlord, you start with typing the address. Then the only things that you need to put in the beginning is the purchase price and the expected monthly rent. So just for this example, I can put 100. You know what? Let's try the get estimation. So the guest estimation, we're using an API of property data. We fetch some of the information, for instance, the internal area. But then based on those parameters, we will help you evaluate the value of this property. And this is based on data points in this postcode. So you just need to tell us the property type, the construction date, internal area, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, the interior finish quality. In buy to let, usually, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, you need to buy the property that is habitable, because in order to get the buy to let mortgage, you need the property to be in a state that you can actually get a tenant in. So I would say in this strategy, I would say that the property should be between average to high, or very high. So let's put high. If there are outdoor spaces or not, off-street parking spaces. So basically, all of those parameters will match other comparables in this area. And also, we look at average asking prices in this area, which you can also see on the postcode information page, which you have unlimited search on the premium plan. So hurry up and upgrade. And then you come up with the property value. And this is just indication. It will not replace a surveyor that inspects the property. So you need also to take it into account. So we can use this price. Perhaps let's round it just for the example to 200. Jack, in buy to let, would you try to get also the price below market value, or it's less important?
I mean, it comes down to what your criteria is, what your goals are. I mean, obviously, a discount is always good. I know so many people who let deals blow up and the seller pull out because they've gone too low and their expectations are a bit too crazy. But if every house on a street has sold for £180,000, and you're able to get it for 170, 165, you get that 10 to 15,000 pounds worth of equity. Um, I'd say it's good. It's worth doing because obviously it's you're basically negotiating to add value to your own portfolio because if you can buy it for 150 and sell it for 180, there's 30,000 pounds there of margin. So you're basically building in house value, building in equity from day one. So discounts are always helpful.
Definitely. And I will show how you can also take it into account our deal analyzer. The expected monthly rent, you can use again the estimation based on the same parameters and based on other data points in this area. And you can use this number or you can change it to any number that you want. Then just select if you are going to buy this property with a buy-to-let mortgage or it's a cash purchase, and then click proceed to buy-to-let. Now, the beauty is that Lendlord in the background will use its own assumptions to do the initial analysis and provide you some metrics. But don't worry, starting this point, you can start editing the data, play with the numbers, run different scenarios until you have enough data to decide if this deal stuck up or not. So here you will see a map, you will see some information about the property. Those sliders will help you optimize the deal. And then here you have the short-term metrics. So you will see a breakdown of the total cash investment that is required, what is going to be your net annual cash flow, the return on capital deployed, and other parameters. On the summary tab, you will see all the details, including the assumptions of Lendlord. And here you can actually adjust and tweak the data. On the purchase details, you can click on the edit icon. And for instance, if you want to change the closing costs or you want to add extra costs, then basically here you can do that and you can click save and see how it impacts your results. You can also change the loan details. And basically here all the details of the deal can be edited. And then you can see the results here. And here you will see the long-term metrics. And here what we do is basically the default is 10 years, but you can change it to 20 years. And we can basically, the platform calculates your return for the long term based on different assumptions. So we have the best case scenario, the default scenario, the best case scenario, the worst case scenario. And of course, you can change each scenario. And Jack, before I want to do like this analysis of the scenarios, but on buy to let, you have the short term and you have the long term. What is more important for you? The cash, the ongoing cash flow. So basically the rental income that you will get, and then you need to pay your mortgage payment and other costs, but then you have a net cash flow every month, or the property appreciation over the years.
I quite looking at both and almost combining the two. So what am I going to get in for example a 5 to 10 year period of both rental profit per year time if we're doing it over a 5 year period, rental profit per year times by five plus expected capital growth every year or in the next 5 years and combine the two and work out what makes the most the most sense when you come in to choose which property to invest in.
What would you
So
like to be your numbers? So what we take into account when we analyze the deal is the occupancy rate, which cannot be 100%. I think people need to take it into account. Occupancy rate, so for instance, 92% means that 1 month every year, the property will be no tenant. Then, of course, the ongoing property appreciation, the annual property appreciation year over year, so it's an average. Then the rent increase, and the annual inflation. So, and we allow you to put it on the default and then best case and worst case. What usually you take into account in terms of occupancy? I believe it depends on the property type, if it's an HMO, not HMO, if it's also location, I believe.
yeah, HMOs I'd typically go sort of like 90 to 95%. And then it's the same in terms of your buy to lets. Yeah, 95% seems it's better to be safe than sorry, isn't it? I mean, I
Yeah.
know people who've had property portfolios for 20 years and for all 20 years they've had one tenant in that one house. So they have had 100%, but it's, when you're stacking a deal, it doesn't make sense to think on best case. So yeah, no, I would go on that for an occupancy rate, especially for a buy to let.
And property appreciation.
Yeah, what I like to do is I mean, Lendlord's really good because it pulls a lot of this data in, but I like to go to like Rightmove and a couple of other platforms to kind of see what in that area seems to be the average, but exactly like it
We
shows
take
there.
it, yeah. Yeah, we take it
They
from the
you
5 years.
pull that,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you pull that data in, so it just keeps it really simple. And I'd work off that as an average. And again, kind of coming back to your question, I mean, if you're looking at this particular property, if it's £200,000 and your annual appreciation is what is it, 4.6?
Yes, 4.6.
So you're looking at about £9,200 per year in in capital growth. If your profit's like £250 a month, that's great. It's three grand a year. Or no, 2.5 grand a year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's like
so
basically more, 3,000 a year.
£250, 3 grand a year. So, that's great, but by going somewhere where you get that extra 1 to 2% of capital growth means you can have quite a significant difference and quite a significant impact on your sort of long-term figures.
Yeah, and this is basically the IRR that we calculate for the long term. So the IRR, it's a complex formula, but to make it simple, it will take into account the annual cash flow plus the property appreciation. And
Mm,
also, it takes into account inflation in the formula. But basically, this can show you that if the property will increase in value for 4.6% every year, this basically the potential return is 14% a year. Then on the best case, you can, put higher numbers, higher occupancy rate, higher property appreciation, lower inflation. But you can also run a worst case scenario. And here, basically, you can see, okay, so let's say that property will grow only 1%. So you can also put like negative numbers and see how it will impact your results and very low occupancy rate. And then you can define your boundaries and say, okay, if it's, worst case is below 8%, it's not something I want to do. Depends on, of course, depends on each investor and basically his preferences. But I think that this tool allow you basically to analyze different scenarios. And one more thing that you can do, and this is also part of the premium plan, which you can get with 50% off using the link on the chat, is to generate a report. You can include the future scenarios in the report. You can also include the postcode information that we will show you in a sec, and then you can generate a well-designed report, which you can also share with others. And now let's discuss, let's see the postcode information quickly. Jake, how much the postcode is important? You spoke before that about location, but here basically you get all the data. So there are some area facts about this area, the last year's capital growth, statistics about
mm,
rental, average
yeah.
asking prices in this area, comparables, which is very important. Uh,
Mm.
and some, demographics. You can see statistics about local crimes, schools in this area, age distribution, and more.
Yeah. How niche down is that? Does that go in terms of is that the postcode
So it's the postcode. This is the main focus of the analysis, but I think it takes data points.
from
Uh,
just slightly surrounding areas?
uh,
So yeah, and what's good about that is, I mean, it, if anyone knows Manchester, for example, okay, Manchester as a whole, you could say the whole of Manchester, what is the capital growth? Okay. And you'll get an average capital growth measurement. But the tighter you can narrow that circle of information, the better. And so because places, if you know Manchester, areas in the north of Manchester. I mean, to be honest, the whole of Manchester is doing pretty well, but there are certain pockets of Manchester that have absolutely boomed and will continue to grow. And there are other areas that haven't done so well. So it's all well and good saying, I want to invest in Manchester, I want to invest in London, I want to invest in Birmingham or wherever it is you want to invest. But to be able to niche down onto what actually is happening in that small local area, and what is the capital growth looking like, what is the average rents looking like, the tighter you can get it on your research, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Lendlord, you get all of it instantly, also available from your mobile. When you, I don't know, when you view a property where you're on the go, you can analyze the deal and you can also get the postcode information, which is part of the premium plan. So hurry up and upgrade. Jack, before we go to and take some questions, let's run weekly BRR analysis.
Hmm.
So here we will ask for more information in the beginning. So you have the purchase price, then the refurb cost. Um, I will tell you a secret. We are going to launch an AI assistant to Landlord. This is just for you during this webinar. Um, and this should be released in the next 2 weeks. The AI assistant will help you also to estimate refurb costs. It's something that we will continue to evolve, but it will help you to do many other stuff as well. It's not live yet. So until you have this assistant, you need to basically come up with a plan and say, okay, what will be the refurb? But then you can analyze it after that and change the details. So let's say that if I invest 10K, then I'm going to buy it with bridging finance and improve the property to 150. And I'm going to get 1,200 pounds in rent. And of course, to get relevant prices to relevant locations, just use the get estimation. You can get it unlimited on the premium plan and run estimations for the property value before renovation and after renovation. And you can do it with the interior finish quality. So let's say that you buy the property below average and perhaps with 2 bedrooms. So you can estimate the value for that. And then you can do the same, let's say with, I don't know, if you extend it to 3 bedrooms and now the interior finish quality is very high, you can run it again and see what in this area it will do the value to the value. In this case, basically, it increases it to 2 to 5. I'm going to use the different numbers just to make it easier. Then you just need to decide if your exit is a refinance for a long-term mortgage or cash. Usually in BRR, to refinance. Then you click proceed, and you can get something similar, but here we have more metrics. So a summary of the refer project to see the initial cash investment you need. Of course, on the summary tab, you can edit this information. The bridging loan costs, the BMV, basically, it's a formula that calculates post-refurb how much, but theoretically, you bought the property under market value. Then the short-term metrics is basically after you get the finance and the metric money left in the deal that I mentioned before, and the other metrics. And then again, for the long term, usually in BRI, you will see a higher return on capital deployed because basically we calculate it only on the money left in the deal. So if you know what you do and you know to exit on time, if you take bridging, it's very important, then basically you can get less money left in the deal and then get the return on capital deployed higher. Jack, anything about this analysis before we will take some questions on BRR?
Um, I mean that deal looks great. I wish I could buy that. It looks really good. Yeah, I think when it comes to your buy refurb refinance projects and flips, it kind of comes with both of those. The discount is where the money's made, in my opinion. You want to when you're buying something, you want to make sure that when you buy it, you're buying it in a way that if you, for whatever reason, turns out you can't renovate it and then sell it, and you just need to sell it immediately, that you're still going to make a profit. So if in this example the purchase price is 100,000, right? Um, and the estimated
Yeah,
value is that on the screen?
yeah,
The
yeah.
current value
Yeah, it's like the purchase price is 100K.
100,000, you're spending 10,000 on the refurb, 150,000 is the GDV, which suggests to me it would probably sell for 125, 120 on the open market. So if you were to buy it for 100 for whatever reason, needed to just immediately sell it either through an auction or get it back on the market, you can just do that and still exit. So it gives you that security. But these are the best sort of deals you can find. They're not easy to come by, but when you get them, they're very good.
Like you do like BRR, like you keep the properties if you renovate, or you prefer to sell for profit?
Ooh, good question. Depends on where I'm sitting. At the moment, I'm really trying to retain, so I'm doing a lot of buy, refurb, refinance, and renting as HMOs. That's something that I'm really pushing for at the moment because we get really good cash flow on the back end. We're also able to drive GDVs up as high as possible, refinance as much as possible. So it's yeah, a great model. I really like the BRR model. But obviously it comes down to, if you exit a deal, you've left a bit of money in, which is absolutely normal, but you don't have the money to pay off your investor, just sell the house, pay your investor off, take your profit, and go find another deal. But where you can, I try to retain because we're all in this for the long term. This property is a long term game. We want to be in this for a very long time. So to be calculating these deals right, to be making sure that we're stacking our deals properly at the beginning, getting all the data, all our numbers right, getting those discounts, doing those refurbs, but then holding it for the long term. That's where the value comes in.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jack. Okay, so let's now take some questions. Before we do that, I want to remind you the promotion for today. So go to your settings page, click on upgrade to get the premium plan with 50% off. Click add coupon, enter Jack webinar, and click apply, and you can get the premium plan with 50% off for the first year. Yeah, it's very valuable, and you have by the end of this webinar to upgrade. Okay, so now so we have some questions in the chat. Amir, perhaps you want to just read the questions out loud, and then we can answer.
I will. So first of all, thank you. It's a really insightful webinar for me as well. So I'm really happy to have the opportunity to join. Jack, that was really fantastic. Just posting again the premium coupon that we have. So you'll see it on the chat now. All right, so we do have a bunch of questions. I think best, maybe I'll just read them out, and then either Aviram or Jack, either of you can answer. Okay, a question, I think probably more to Aviram. How updated is the information on the properties shown in the listing section?
It's been up like every day we get new properties, and you can also see when basically this property was uploaded to Lendlord. You can also actually, I think you have a filter for that, added to Lendlord. You can see today or in the last. So today we received like 7,000 properties, or in the last 7 days. So you can also filter by that. Yeah. So basically, it's like on a daily basis. This is the answer.
Perfect. And Jack, I think you answered this in the chat before, but how soon after your mortgage? Sorry, how soon can you remortgage after you buy a property?
How soon can you remortgage after buying? Depends how you buy it. Um, there's like a misconception that you have to wait 6 months, but actually you can just buy and refinance. The question is, will that lender refinance at the new value or at what you bought it for? So I could buy a house today cash and then get a mortgage on it tomorrow. Um, but just because I bought it today at a 30% discount doesn't mean that tomorrow they'll give me a mortgage at 100% of the value. So yeah, so it all comes down to the lender. It comes down to the situation of the deal. Quite often, people like to use that 6 month rule, but to be honest, if you were to buy a house, renovate it, and come to refinance, it's probably going to be 6 months anyway by the time you come to refinance. So it's not really a concern with any lender at that point, especially if you're doing a refurb.
All
Yeah.
right, perfect.
And I mean,
Yeah.
for mortgages, remortgages, I didn't show it, but when you analyze any deal on Landlord, you can click on this button, finance this deal, and here the platform in the background will analyze the information and match it with live products from buy-to-let mortgages. Can click on more products to see or to refine the search. And you can also go to the finance tab and click mortgage, remortgage to see all the products. And then you can click on review mortgage illustration to start a process to get a mortgage illustration and manage your application online with Landlord from the submission to the lender until completion. And basically on Landlord, you can track all the statuses. You get notified in each status. You can also review your mortgage offer. So the digital finance embedded into Landlord is also a great tool. And with our premium plan, you also can get some benefits. So use the coupon code for 50% off today to get some benefits. And also bridging finance, you can get indicative terms for bridging finance using Landlord, and then you can apply again in a digital way and get the application online. Yeah, Amir, over to you to the next question, please.
Perfect. So also, Jack, someone here has asked, how could they get in touch with you after the webinar? If that's something that's you'd like to share, I don't know on what media
You can
or...
share like also in the chat, if you can put the links, how people can get in touch with you, how can follow your content.
Yeah, so I'll put it in here. I'm on YouTube, so you can find some free. Hopefully, you find it valuable content. I'll put that on the chat to everybody now.
Perfect.
And
Highly
then
recommend great content. Yeah.
if people want to get in touch with me, sort of directly in my business and find out a bit more about how we work and help people, I'll also put the actual website in there as well. So it's thepropertynetwork.uk. Yeah, be great to help people.
Nice. All right. So perfect. Thank you for that. Another question here was a question about key differences between Lendlord and Rightmove.
Yeah, so Rightmove is a tool for agents, investors like to list properties. And there are like I think two main competitors, Zoopla and On the Market. Lendlord is more than that. So you can source properties and across all those tabs, on market properties, auctions, property lists, which you need to select a category before and then you put an address and radius from this address. On a premium plan, you get unlimited searches. So if you upgrade, you get even more. So across all of those tabs, it should cover Rightmove, Zoopla, and On the Market together. The benefit with Lendlord is basically you can source the properties, you can define sourcing alerts. Sourcing alerts you can get, it's also part of the premium plan. You get notifications on price decrease, price increase before auction dates. But you can also define search criteria. So you define what properties would you like to look at, and then basically get notifications when there are new properties for sale. You can also manage watch list. So this is like basically the difference. And of course, you can also analyze deals on Lendlord, which I'm not sure that you can do on Rightmove, and get all the postcode information. Perhaps you have some on Rightmove, but on Lendlord, you can get quite thorough information about any postcode. Yeah, I hope I answered. Yeah.
Perfect. Jack, this one is for you. There was a question by Anna. Would you recommend first to buy with your own equity then refurb and rent it out, or would you first, and then refinance, or would you buy it with a mortgage and then renovate, rent, and so on? Like,
Um,
yeah,
do you mean buy? Sorry, when you say buy with your own equity, do you mean with like cash?
yeah,
Yeah, so you buy cash. I'd buy cash first, refurb it, and then refinance, get it onto a mortgage. If you buy with a mortgage, most lenders don't want you to be buying and then developing, although it would just be a light spruce up. It's in a lot of lenders' cases, it wouldn't be if they knew you were going to buy it and do a big refurb,
Yeah.
they won't want you to do that. And then also, you're probably going to be subject to a bunch of early repayment charges and penalties. So it's easier to just buy cash, get the refurb done, and refinance it once you've lifted the value up.
Yeah. Another option is to use bridging finance, like
Yeah.
more risky, but then you can leverage. Bridging finance will be more expensive, but it's for a short term. So if you know your numbers and you can analyze these here, so basically you can limit the time. If you can limit the time of the project, then you can exit the bridging finance on time.
Mhm.
Like another option, bridging finance you can get for refurbishment projects. And as you mentioned, Jack, I think it will be very hard to get a buy-to-let mortgage if you are going to refurb the property. Usually, the the metrics that the lenders will look at, like the rental income that should cover the mortgage payments. So they need to see that you have income from this property in order to get a buy-to-let mortgage.
Yeah.
all right, perfect. There's two questions regarding mortgages here. One is if you could say a few words regarding mortgages that are for non-UK residents. And the second question is regarding mortgages. What is the recommendation? Interest only or capital and interest?
I will let Jack answer perhaps the second. No, I
Yeah.
know what I prefer, but Jack, it's very interesting to hear your opinion about interest only. I know this is the main, I think, product in the UK, like for property
Mm.
or capital interest that basically you pay the principal as well over time.
Yeah, so I will normally go for interest only. It's funny, I actually have tried. I spoke to my broker about this about a year ago, and he was saying you'd be surprised how many lenders won't even offer a buy to let product that that you can repay.
Yeah.
Like that, it's crazy that they actually don't really offer it. In the same way, it's not very easy to get um, uh, a interest only residential mortgage. It's almost like the same vice versa. If they really want you to be paying off your personal home, the capital, and they just want you to be paying off the interest on your investments. But I mean, I like it that way. I want to pay off my residential property. I want to be debt free on my residential home eventually. And I want to leverage as much as possible out of my investments. So it makes sense. And to have that interest only means that you've got the reduced outgoings and debt decreases over time. It deflates over time. It's just normal economics. It's just due to inflation. So if you have, I mean, I'll give you an example. My parents bought their house, their personal home, um, in 1996 for £65,000. It is now so they probably had £60,000 mortgage on it. Which at the time it's like, oh my word, £60,000 against a £65,000 asset. That is crazy. Um, you know, Wild. Fast forward to today, even if they hadn't paid off that mortgage, their house is worth £500,000. So, in comparison to what the value of your house is going to be, if you hold this, again, this comes back to we're in this property game for the long term. So, if we are in it for the long term, then your property price your value should be going up substantially, so that when you come to cash in or you come to retire, you can just sell off a quarter of your portfolio to pay off the debt on the rest of it because you'll have that much built-in equity. But yeah, early on, I'm leveraging as well. I'm still young. I'm leveraging as much as possible, and I'm using interest only because I like the cash flow. Keeps your monthly payments down.
Yeah. By the way, if you want to try, you can go to the summary tab, and then on this is the BRR mode analyzer, but you have it also on the other side of this. Go to the let period refinancing, click edit, and then here change method of repayment, capital and interest. then you can see that the monthly payment will go up. Click save. Then it's interesting what it will do to the deal. And go to the results. So you can see that the net cash flow is reduced. And for the long term, you can see in this chart that your equity is going up, your mortgage is going down. So, and basically, if you increase the holding period to 25 years, let's say, then you can see that at some point your debt will be zero and you're left just with equity. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, so you can do this exercise as well on
And
landlord.
what's crazy when you look at it visually like that, I really like it because if you scroll, is it up a little bit? Oh no, down. Yeah, that to that one, just beneath it, you can see it flatlines your mortgage because your interest stays as you're just paying off, so the debt remains the same. But when we're talking about investing for the long term, you're talking about over a 25-year period. The cash flow, if you just scroll down,
Yeah,
um, yes, a little bit more. So you can, oh yeah, so you can see that your cash flow, eventually, if you just saved up your cash flow, you'd save up the equivalent of the entire mortgage,
yes. I
and
think,
the property's going up in value over time.
yeah, because of that, the IRR is like, it's around like 30%, which is insane.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but I think for the like in the short period, you will get less every year because
Mm,
basically you pay you need to pay also the principal every month. So it's the net cash flow will be a bit lower. But yeah, but as you mentioned, I also don't think that there are many lenders that will offer you capital and interest with
no,
payment.
not on investments.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay. All right. Do we have any more questions? Like we are a bit running out of time, but we will, like if people wants to stay, you can get more questions. Like yeah, let's Amir. Yeah.
Yeah, so first of all, that was great. We do have a few more questions that people have just put up into here. One of the questions that came up was regarding the reform, um, regarding the tenants and the landlords, the changes of the stamp duty. Basically, just asking about the renters' right bill.
Yeah. So
Mm,
before perhaps Jackie, if you have something to say about it, I'm running out of battery.
yeah,
So on our website, on the blog, we have this guide about the UK Renters' Right Bill with weekly update on what's going on with the legislation. There are uh, major changes that might come in terms of your tenancy period, the compliance, the way you need to communicate with your tenants, perhaps rent controls. Not sure yet if it will go through. Jack, what is basic? I think that landlord should definitely get prepared. On our website, you have all the information you need, and our platform will support the changes as well.
mhm.
How you look at this reform, basically, if you have a few words about that.
I mean, to be honest, what and there was other questions with it around like the EPC because they brought in a while back that you have to have your EPC up to a C rating, and then they scrapped it, and now they've brought it back in again, so it has to be in. I think it's by 2030 or something like that. Um, and then there was another one as well, EPC, the stamp duty increase. Yeah, the jump in stamp duty. So if you have a purchase going through, guys, push your solicitors to get this over the line in March, because otherwise you'll be paying more in stamp duty. So yeah, move quick on your purchases. But yeah, I mean, all of it, if you kind of just look at all of that stuff, quite often these things can happen and it scares landlords out of the market, which for me, I don't think is necessary because ultimately there's always going to be changes to any business, to any market, to any investment. You can't invest in something and then forget about it for 30 years and genuinely not pay any attention. There will always be some level of like evolving in the process. And yes, these things are coming in and it's making things more expensive, it's making things more difficult, and rents get more I mean, they literally get more rights. That's the whole point of it, which can make it feel more daunting. But the reality is, it just comes down to, right, we've got to jump through a few more hoops, and what we've got to do what we currently do, but better. And I actually think that it's fine. It's not a big deal because yes, stamp duty is going to go up. It's going to cost us a bit more. So just factor that in. Like, this is the whole point. Like, this is why we have tools like Lendlord, because as the market adapts, as UK legislation adapts, so will these platforms like Lendlord. I mean, your the stamp duty calculator will adjust as the stamp duty adjusts in the UK. So you can get those like calculated and factored in. And it's just all about making sure that you stack your deals properly in the beginning. And making sure that when it comes to it, I mean, is it really that bad to when you're renovating your house, make sure you do it to an EPC rating of a C? I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I think it's pretty good because it means you're providing better quality homes. I don't think we should be skimping out and doing the bare minimum for tenants. And, so there is an element to this where it's like, we just want to do what we're currently doing, but better. We want to still be profitable. So we need to stack things properly. But also, we want everybody to win. So, yeah, we're not in this. I'm certainly not in this to be, slum landlord. I want to provide great housing for great tenants who are happy. So, it's just about making sure we continue to do what we do. We adjust with the changes, and we make sure our deals still stack, and we do what we do very well.
Jack, that's I love that. I love that energy, like really, really professional and optimistic. So that's really just it's really cool and inspiring to hear. Two questions came through in line with that atmosphere that you're bringing along with you. Another question regarding how to get in touch with you. So maybe you could jump that back. And also a question, do you offer sourcing services anywhere in the UK? Only buy to let, or do you also do HMOs? So
So I do sourcing around so if you were to look at a map, then we go from Greater Manchester across to Liverpool up to a town called Chorley and down to a town called Crewe. That's the area that I like to operate in. Again, because we know it, like I know it like the back of my hand. It's a great area to invest in. Really good places to be sourcing deals. I think capital growth is thriving there, and so it's a great place to invest. It's local to me. I know it, and I can oversee projects and stuff. So it makes more sense for me to operate there. I do buy to lets, some BRR projects, and we do quite a lot of HMOs, typically for professional tenants, working professionals. We go for the high end properties so you can maximize your GDV, pull out as much equity as possible, rinse and repeat the model, maximize your rent, all that sort of stuff. Sometimes we do some social housing. Depends, but yeah, we fix on that area, and yeah, we do HMOs and we do BRR. We don't source flips or that sort of thing. So that's not something we do. But yeah, you can get in touch with me. So I'm going to put the email for my team in the chat, and then
perfect.
also the website. Again, you can get in touch with us via email, or you can fill in forms. Watch some of the videos on our website, which breaks down the service that we offer, how we help, and yeah, if you want to get in touch, ask any questions, then very happy to help.
Jack, that's perfect. Thank you. Aviram, there's another bonus question here for you. How easy is it to obtain bridging loans?
Quite easy with Landlord. Just go. So if you analyze the deal, click finance this deal. Then on the finance deal, you will see the mortgage options. But if you need bridging, click on the bridge deal tab, and you can start a process to obtain bridge finance by clicking proceed, or go to the finance section, the platform, and click bridging finance. And then you just need to answer several questions and to get your indicative terms. Then on the same day, you can get the heads of terms. You just need to provide all the information. We don't ask for so much information and several documents that you need to provide, and you can get your heads of terms. And if you have an accepted offer, it really depends on the solicitors, but in terms of speed, we can complete in 5 working days. There are times that it takes much more time because of the sellers or the solicitors, but we can always push to do a quick completion. So yeah, on Lendlord, you can apply in a digital way. You can get some benefits on the arrangement fee on our premium plan. And then if you click proceed, you will get your bridging application, and you can review your indicative terms. You can upload the documents, and of course, we will ask several information pieces about the property. And yes, everything is digital. Click proceed. You can review the terms. I think something that is special for landlord bridging is that in the platform, you can see the dynamic product. Jack, by the way, it's interesting because if people know what they do and they can complete the renovation quickly, then you can pay less with this product. So basically, if you exit after 6 months, the rate is lower than if you exit after 9 months or 12 months. So this is something that we offer. I mean, you can put the link tree again on the chat so people can apply for bridging, get indicative terms, or consult with our team, and also on mortgages. And don't have a lot of time by the end of this webinar, so hurry up. Click on the top right menu, click settings, click upgrade to get the premium plan for 50% off. Click add coupon, Jack webinar, and click apply, and you can get it for 49.5 pounds for the first year. Yeah. Any other questions? Jack, I don't know if we are running out of time. It's actually 15 o'clock, so that's okay, but we think that we are going to end it very soon. Amir, do we have?
Yeah, I just wanted to share that I do a weekly welcome webinar on Sundays. So that's something that happens at 12 p.m. So it's just at noon. Anyone that signs up will get the absolute pleasure, hopefully, of joining me on Sunday. So definitely keen to show you around different features of the app and welcome you to use our basically to use our app, our different functions and stuff. So definitely keen to meet you and welcome you aboard.
Yeah, we can share the link for registrations after that. I can, if you don't have it available.
Well, it actually also has here like for new users, there's the sign up just at the bottom. So I can put that down here as well. Anyone that wants to join us for the webinar can just sign up here, and I'll get to meet you on Sunday if you're keen to join.
Yeah, I think we can also put the direct link for the Zoom registration, so I will find it in a second. All right, can we ramp it up? Like, do you have any questions? Perhaps just pick, like, I know that many of you perhaps asked questions that we didn't answer. But I mean, perhaps just like last one question, and then we can summarize this webinar.
All right, perfect. So there's a question. There's a question regarding bridging loans for companies as well, or is it only for individuals?
No, we do, of course, limited companies applications. So.
And there's another question here, Jack. If you recommend opening a company, how complicated is it, and the benefits of opening a company as opposed to buying as an individual?
If you buy as a company, you can write off your mortgage payments as a tax deductible expense. I can't recommend to do it or not. That's probably something an accountant or financial advisor would have to advise you on. But for me personally, I buy my property in a company because I'm planning on building a portfolio of the long term, and for me it makes most sense to buy in a company. How easy is it? It's pretty easy. You can go straight to the government website and have one set up pretty quick. And you could go to like a a website. What's it called? First Formations. If you just search on Google First Formations, then that will yeah, that's again a simple way to get it set up. And you can have a company set up for like if you go direct to the government website, like £17. If you go through one of the easy sort of first formation setups, it's like 80 quid, I think, maybe less.
Nice.
So yeah.
Do you open
All
like
right.
different, what is the strategy? It's a company per property, or you will purchase several properties?
Depend, I'll normally buy a few properties in one company. I'd plan to sort of have like certain types of properties in different companies. I have different companies with joint venture partners where we co-own companies as well. And then also if you've got one particular big project, maybe a little bit of a risky one, if you're going to go for your first big ground up development, you know, for people in the future, or you're going to buy a big block of apartments, maybe just have one company set up for that big deal, just to make sure that it's all kind of ring fenced and then have your rest of your portfolio in another one. But you know, speak to an accountant; they'll be able to advise you on both best tax practices, but also safety as well on making sure you mitigate risk.
Yes, absolutely. And by the way, on Landlord, you can manage more like basically different type of ownerships. You can run portfolios with private ownerships. Also, you can invite your partners. So basically, we support more than one owner to each property, and also many companies. So you can basically um, take a look on different portfolios on your landlord account, and you can invite team members from the right top menu. All right, final, final words, Jack, from you. And I think that you already told people, but perhaps, how if they want to follow you on social media. Um, um, yeah,
Yeah, if people want to follow me, it's on Instagram, it's Jack David Smith. On YouTube, it's youtube.com/slash Jack David Smith. If you just type in Jack Smith property into YouTube, you'll find me there. And hopefully, if you just watch a bunch of the videos, and if you find it helpful in all of the videos I've posted, there'll be a link in the description of those videos that you can download some more like free cool resources, access to like courses and checklists and calculators and all sorts of bits and pieces. Um, and yeah, whatever you need, we offer that. So yeah, just check out the YouTube channel Jack Smith, or type in Jack Smith property if I don't pop up immediately. And yeah, or in fact I'll put it in chat. That's probably easier.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Well, Jack, this has been so insightful.
yeah. In the meantime, I just want to show you again the promotion during this webinar time. I will keep the webinar live for a few more minutes. If you want to upgrade, go to your settings page. It's a very special promotion, beneficial. Click upgrade or click on the link that Amir put on the chat, /premium. Then here, click on the link, add coupon below the orange button. And here put Jack webinar. Click apply, and you can get the premium plan of Landlord for 49.5 pounds per year for the first year, for the entire year, for like free access for 12, not free, for 49.5 for the next 12 months.
Aviram, another question just came through, sorry, about if there's someone that's already a premium, is there like a coupon that they could use
Yes,
for next year, let's say?
yes. So just write to the hosted panelists, Amir, if you can take the email, and then we can apply the coupon for the renewal.
Perfect. So anyone that's a premium, you can just send me the emails now, and then I'll make sure to send you a coupon code.
All right, so thanks everyone. As I mentioned, I will keep this webinar open for perhaps for the next 1 hour. If you still want to upgrade, you have the links on the chat. Jack, it was a real pleasure to have you with us in this webinar. Very helpful, very insightful. Um, and
Yeah, it
yeah,
was great. It was great to be on. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks everyone who's turned up and engaged in the chat. And hopefully it's been helpful. And always love unpacking a bit more of the landlord stuff. And yeah, excited to be here.
Thanks. Thank you very much. And last thing, I will put also the renters right bill reform link.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think this is also very useful
Yeah,
and
make sure you read through that. Anyone who's got a
yeah,
property or wants to buy one.
very important. And we will do
Yeah.
like weekly updates, so you can be on track. Uh,
Is there, because I want to check on that. Is there somewhere on that page where you could sign up to get, uh, because I'm just going to sponge off you now. When there's those updates, are you going to email those out? Is there a way to sign up to get those updates emailed to us? Because I'd like those. Just saying,
so
just a request.
we are working on it. Yeah, yeah, but it's a good idea actually. So currently it's available on the website, but I think that definitely we will take your idea and perhaps we should notify people that want to get
Yeah.
the updates on a weekly basis. But for now, like I just shared like the main article on the chat here.
Mm.
So click on it, and I think that yeah, in the first section of this article, you will see the links for the updates. And yeah, I think Jake is a good idea to do like email notifications when we release updates. And we will share the recording of this webinar as well on our YouTube channel. On our YouTube channel, you can also find great content, so feel free to subscribe to Landlord YouTube channel. And yeah, see you all in the next webinar. Thank you again, Jake. It was great.
No worries. No,
Thanks,
it's great to
everyone.
be here. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you
Amir.
very much. Thank you, everyone.